Good morning, adventure travellers. We are in the old town of Warsaw, and as you'd expect, there is a lot of classical European type buildings there and the ubiquitous cobblestone streets. It doesn't seem very busy today. I'm wondering if that's because it's a bit overcast up there, or is it because it's a Monday? Anyway, we are heading towards some kind of castle entrance by the looks. It looks pretty interesting. Looks like we've got the old standard moat down the side, and in we go. And here we come into the main square. So like a lot of the other old towns in Europe, we've got a statue in the middle of the main square, surrounded by restaurants and cafes and beautiful old buildings. Most probably apartments. Who knows? As expected, there are some impressive churches in Warsaw, just like the rest of the country. Can't even fit it all in. She's a big one. Alrighty, well, maybe that wasn't the main square that we were in before, because I've just come to another square and it looks a bit more main than the main square from before. This one is a big one with a big old statue in the middle. The square and the statue are a lot bigger than where I just was, so maybe there's two main squares, who knows. Alrighty, there's a bit of a view as well from this square across the main road, and in the distance there seems to be a massive stadium, I think it is. If I had to put money on it, I dare say it would be a football stadium. There we go, a little bit closer. And sure enough, Google image search tells me it is the National Stadium of Poland for the Polish national football team. So 10 points for me on that one. And there's another Hard Rock Cafe. There's been quite a few Hard Rock Cafes throughout Europe. And being an 80s kid, I do like myself a good Hard Rock Cafe. And here we have one of Poland's most famous churches, St. Anne's Church, which was built in the 15th century, although the facade that we're seeing here was built in the 18th century. And this is probably it for the old town. This is the Church of the Assumption of Mary and St. Joseph. Yeah, just a view down the street. And in behind the statue we have the Presidential Palace. Alrighty, the bad news is it started raining, but the worst news is it's going to keep raining for the next 2 weeks. So I'll have to think about going north for a few days if it's going to do nothing but rain. But it's also raining in Germany. It's raining all over North Europe, or northern central Europe. So it's only raining light, but not ideal. This is summer in Poland. I'm sure it's not like this all the time. But anywho, that's it from the old town of Warsaw. Stay tuned for whatever's coming next. I've got no idea what that is. Alrighty, I've just been to the Warsaw Uprising Museum, which was all about the uprising against the Nazis at the end of World War II, and happened to find myself in the financial district of Warsaw. It's where you'll find all the banks and the insurance companies and all those financial institutions, all the big flash buildings in the background. A little bit different from the old town where we were going through this morning. Bright lights, big city. Alrighty, here's one of these interesting things you just stumble across. It doesn't look that big in the background, but this huge structure is the Palace of Culture and Sciences. Now it's a little bit controversial because it was designed by a Russian architect and financed by the Soviet Union. nonetheless, it was only built in 1955, even though it looks hundreds of years old, but it was designed to look that way. It was originally called the Joseph Stalin Palace of Culture and Sciences, but they decided to drop that name for obvious reasons. Anyway, I've had my fair share of museums for the day, and it's a big one, so I'm not heading in there. But interesting how you just stumble across these things on your wanderings. Now let's see if I can stumble past a cafe that doesn't charge an arm and a leg for a cappuccino. Good morning, adventure travellers. Well, I've managed to combine a wet day with the longest ride probably in the last couple of months, 5.5 hours to the coast, Gdańsk. That's probably not how you say it, but yes, it's going to be a long, hard, wet day. And to add insult to injury, it's quite warm as well, so I'm already working up a sweat under these wet weather jacket and pants that don't let the ventilation in. But anyway, just got to hit the road, take it easy and nice and slow, and get there when I get there. Let's get on the road. Got to take it easy on these cobblestones because they are pretty slippery. Alright, goodbye Warsaw. It's been a nice couple of days. There's the new straight ahead and the old to the left. Hopefully Google Maps is going to not play up too much today with the water. Doesn't like the water, doesn't like the heat. The old visor doesn't like too much water either, you can't see out of it. So it's going to be an interesting day, but steady as she goes. On the bright side, it's not hosing down, so that's one little good thing. And chances are it'll get a bit clearer as the day goes on. Fingers crossed, no guarantees. I've got to say, I am not enjoying this at all. Big thumbs down from me. But if you're enjoying it, give the video a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, hopefully sunnier videos and riding experiences, then hit that subscribe button. If you want to support the channel, share it with family and friends. And let me know what you think about this crazy journey in the comments below. Cheers. Alright, we still have 3.5 hours of riding plus to go, but we have an issue. So good old Google Maps down there has stopped charging because there is water in the cable area, and I am getting perilously low on battery. So not quite sure what to do. Once the phone runs out, then I'm pretty stuffed because I'm taking the B roads, and it's not just a matter of sticking on the road because you could end up anywhere. Not a good day in northern Poland with the rain and the wet boots, and now we have electronic issues. Good old electronics. Anywho, I'll have to put on my thinking cap and see what I can come up with. Stay tuned. And we are back in business. Look at that. It's a beautiful thing. And it's just about stopped raining. So, my luck has turned for the day. Let's hope it lasts a little bit longer till I can get off this bike and get dry and get to where I'm going. So 2 hours 48 according to Google. It's 10 to 3, so we are running very, very late. A couple of hours behind schedule at least. Anyway, can't cry over spilt milk. Let's get back to it. And here we are, 9.5 hours after leaving Warsaw. We finally made it. Well, for a change, this hostel isn't smack bang in the middle of the town, near the old town or what have you. It's in a bit of a residential neighbourhood, and yeah, it's quite nice so far. Looks like a residential house with a backyard, cabins stuck on there. Here's the entrance up there. I'm a couple of hours late, so I better get to the front desk, see if they'll still let me in. And here it is. 6 to a room, but seems nice enough. It'll do for a few nights until we head towards Germany. Let's see what northern Poland has to offer. What's up, trendsetters? We are here in Gdańsk, in the northern part of Poland. It's been a pretty wet last 24 hours and it's my last evening here. Haven't had a chance to get out and about too much, but I must say that Gdańsk has pleasantly surprised me. I thought the town was actually on the northern coast, but it's on a waterway, as you can see in behind me. And surprise, surprise, it has an old town, but it's very vibrant. And even though the weather's not so great, it's nice to be out and about. It's got a little bit of an Amsterdam feel to it with the waterways, and you've got a few, can't really see it, but there's a few old ships up the river there. There's a cool mixture of old and new buildings, and of course the ubiquitous cafes and restaurants all over the place. Wouldn't be Poland without some red brick churches as well. Here you go. And next to the church we've got some pretty cool, I don't know, are they apartment buildings? We've got some multicolours. And we're just down on the water. I think this is where all the water taxis leave from. Seen a couple of those around, but we're coming up to the old town soon. Here's a look down the river with the old tourist boats going along. And then behind me there is the entrance to the old town. And here we are in the old town. It's more of a strip. So let's go for a walk up the strip and we will show you Gdańsk. Okay, there's no prizes for guessing that there are statues and churches in the old town. And there you go. There's the statue. And there's the church. Might be a regular theme, but it's still pretty special. Just that taste of Polish culture and the good old brown brick church as well. I guess it doesn't hurt that it's Friday night as well, so you've got all the locals out as well as the throngs of tourists. And just for good measure, you've got some big woolly dogs. Aren't they beautiful? I think Gdańsk might potentially be the nicest Polish city I've been in yet, so shame I haven't got a little bit longer to explore. I've got to get back on the road tomorrow. So that's a wrap from Gdańsk, ladies and gents. Hope you enjoyed that little whistle stop tour, and let's get on the road tomorrow. Alrighty, adventure travellers, good morning from Gdańsk. That's almost a wrap from Poland. 1.5 days to Berlin. I'm doing an overnighter in a place, I think it's called PILA. So that'll be just a splash and dash, and then on to Berlin. The good news is it's not raining. The bad news is it looks like it's going to pretty soon. Look at those skies, pretty dark. But anyway, we'll worry about that at the time. Let's get on the bike, get on the road. And I know it hasn't been too interesting from the road in Poland, but you never know what today's going to bring. So let's get on the road and see what we find.
Well, that didn't take long. Been on the road about 10 minutes, and although it's not raining properly yet, it's started to spit down. So looks like I'm going to have wet feet at the end of the day again, but can't do much about that. Let's get back on the road. Let's go!
And here we are, all showered and shaved and in the hotel room. Last night in Poland. Tomorrow we hit Berlin, but tonight we are in PILA. Here's the room. It's pretty big, and it's also twice the daily budget of 50 New Zealand dollars, but there were no other alternatives. So I'm splashing out for my last night in Poland. But don't worry, I'll be back in the hostel in Berlin. If you'd like to know more about the ride from New Zealand to Ireland, go to twowheelstoeverywhere.com. If you'd like to know more about the IHC, who I'm raising money for, you can go to ihc.org.nz. And if you're enjoying these videos and you'd like to support the IHC, you can do that through my Give a Little page. The link is on the screen and it's also in the description below. That's PILA in behind me. Unfortunately, the rain has settled in, so I don't know if I'll be going too far to find some dinner tonight. Anyway, that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in, travel safe, and see you on the road.